shuttle has cleared the tower. Every four computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Τι κάνουμε? Οκ, όχι το που θέλουμε. Αυτό δεν θέλουμε όμως. Οκ. Hello. Τι κάνουμε? Λοιπόν, είναι weird όταν είμαι μόνη μου και δεν έχω κάνει καν πλάνο. Απλά βαριόμουνα και λέω θέλω πολύ να παίξω Storyteller. Το πήρα πρόσφατα επειδή το TikTok, ναι, μεγάλη επιρροή το TikTok, και λέω εντάξει, αυτό πήρα, θα το κάνω stream. Είδω και το stream, ναι, γιατί λέω εντάξει, είναι ωραίο, ξέρω εγώ, παιχνίδι για να είναι για stream. Και ήθελα πολύ να παίξω, αλλά την άλλη ήμουνα και σε λίγο ξυστή, δεν ξέρω μα έχω και πολύ όρεξη να κάνω stream, αλλά λέω όχι, το υποσχέθηκα στον εαυτό μου, λέω άμα το παίξω θα το παίξω στο stream, οπότε here we are. Οκ, ναι, ξέρω, εγώ λέω απλά να let's get into it. Παπά, περίμενε, λάθος σκηνή. Εδώ. Confirm. Δεν ξέρω τι παίχτηκε. Άνοιξε σε λάθος σκηνή το game. Technical difficulties. All over again. Οκ, περίμενε. Το έχω. Τώρα θα ανοίξει σωστή. Όχι, γιατί μου το κάνει αυτό? Άμα πάω στα settings και αλλάξω το main, τη main μου σκηνή, τέτοιο και οκ. Όχι, πάλι σε λάθος κινητό. Θα μου σπάσει τα νεύρα, θέλει σήμερα. Δεν ξέρω τι έγινε. Όχι, revert. Εδώ είμαστε, ξαναγυρίσαμε. Οκ. 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 Σωρά. Τι το έκλεισα πάλι. Έλα, καλά θα τα πάμε. Καλά περνάμε, έλα πράγμα. Μέχρι τώρα μόνο τα τεχνικά μου. Okay. low του. Αν το χαμηλώσω, εννοείται πως θα κλείσεις έτσι, αγάπη μου. Α, τέλεια. Λοιπόν, Adam starts alone, finds love, dies happy. Adam starts alone, finds love, dies happy. Εντάξει, αυτό το έχω δει το TikTok, θα το ομολογήσω. Αλλά... Eve dies heartbroken. Οι σκηνές. Θέλω να δω αν μπορούμε να το κάνουμε και ανάποδα. Δηλαδή να το κάνει άλλο. Slay. Not satisfying. Δεν ξέρω γιατί. Κάτσε να φτιάξω λίγο την κάμερα. Better. Καλό όπως το έκανα πριν, ότι και καλά να αλλάξεις. Μπορούσα να κάνω και... αρχή, τη φάση. Μπορώ να βάλω στο τέλος τον Μπρο, έχω καεί ήδη! Τώρα αυτό είναι σαν να είναι όμως σαν να συνεχίζει η ιστορία ή σαν να είναι μία ιστορία και άλλη μία. Λέει και είναι σαν να συνεχίζει έτσι. Ναι, όχι, συνεχίζει. Όχι. Θα περίμενα. Οκ, αφού μπορώ να το κάνω skip, θα γυρίσουμε πίσω αυτό. Surviving spouse. Τώρα σκαλεί viewers φορέ ή μόνο για τα άλλα εννοεί. Οκ, με έκοψε αυτή η ιστορία. Καλά. Μαλάκα, αυτά πήρε όλα μου τα brain cells, να ξέρετε. Δεν. Edgar sucks himself. Το mirror μ' άρεσε εκεί. Ξέρει ποιος είναι, δεν είναι αμνησία. Και δεν ξέρω ποιος είναι. Νομίζω αυτό είναι το καλύτερο, ότι βλέπει τον εαυτό του. Ξέρει ποιος είναι, δηλαδή, αυτός. Θα είναι αμνησία και μετά ξαναβλέπει τον εαυτό του και σοκάρεται. Δεν καταλαβαίνω. Hello? Λοιπόν. Επειδή το αποφάσισα ότι θα κάψω όλα μου τα κεφαλικά κύτταρα σήμερα. Ναι. Ναι. Τελείως τύχη. Μαλάκα, θα το πάρω σαν νίκη, τέλος πάντων. Rejected by mouse. Έλα, αυτό είναι εύκολο. Με το που είδε το revive, απλά με φάση. Bye. Οκ. Απλά τους κάναμε πεθάνουν όλους. Όλοι. Death. Poison. Lenore drinks poison. Τον Shakespeare γίνεται. Αχα. Wedding. Για έναν άντρα αγάπη μου. Όχι, σε παρακαλώ τώρα. Έλα λίγο. Double pass. Α, εντάξει. Όσο πάμε το γιατί αυτός επέστρεψε στη ζωή για να γυρίσει σε αυτήν. Και αυτή... Fight. Ισαμπέλ Ριμέρης, ναι. Πώς θα κάνει Ριμέρης άμα δεν... Και αυτή με το που της το έβαλε στο μπροστά στη μούρη της, να σου βάζει η πρώτη σκέψη. Θα το βάλω στο κρασί. Είμαστε τσούλες μέσα, ρε.
το Discord τότε.
Ναι, κυριολεκτικά το πρώτο πράγμα που άκουσα ήταν το καλέ, αλλά και επίσης ακούω επίσης λίγο πολύ χαμηλά, κάτσε να δυναμώσω.
Τι κάνεις, φίλη μου?
Καλά. Για μίλα λίγο.
Μιλάω, μπλα 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 μπλα.
Ωραία.
Τι κάνεις?
Καλά, παίζω Storyteller.
Storyteller!
Ναι,
Τρίμαρε!
το στριμάρω. Στο Twitch.
Περίμενε. Έχει πολύ φάση το game αυτό.
Το ξέρω! Έλα, επιτέλους κάποιο
Ρε,
για
εντωμεταξύ,
να παίζουμε μαζί.
τι είδα ότι έχει έκπτωση στο Steam.
Τι έχει εκτός στο Steam?
Το Castle Crashers.
Ποιο είναι αυτό?
Δεν το ξέρεις.
Περίμενε.
Το έχει 2 ευρώ. Από 15.
Ευρώ. Από 15, Χριστός γεμάτο. Τι είναι αυτό?
Θα σου αρέσει σίγουρα. Castle Crashers.
Castle...
Τι Λατίνα που είσαι σήμερα, Μαρίνα μου. Πολύ όμορφη. Όχι, τις άλλες μέρες δεν είσαι, αλλά σήμερα.
Castle Crashers. Και τι κάνουμε σε αυτό το game?
Είμαστε αυτά τα μικρά τα 4 ανθρωπάκια, μέχρι 4 άτομα νομίζω είναι. Και παίζουμε levels
Ναι.
και σκοτώνουμε εχθρούς. Τι άλλο θες?
Έλατε.
Δεν είναι απίστευτα cute.
Φαίνεται όντως cute. Μπορεί και να το έχω ξαναδεί κάπου. Λοιπόν, θα το αγοράσω λίγο πιο μετά.
Να το αγοράσω κι εγώ να παίξουμε.
Yes.
Μετά το Storyteller,
Μετά
όποτε
το
βρεθείς το Storyteller.
Yes.
Να το πάρει και ο Σταύρος, ο Βλάκας. Πού είναι?
Δεν έχει δώσει μια ζωή σήμερα, δεν ξέρω.
Δεν έχει δώσει μία ζωή, θα του δώσω εγώ καμιά φάπα. Σου πω εγώ μετά. Άμα θα δώσει μία ζωή. Τι όχι, να μην του δώσω φάπα.
Όχι,
Καλά, δεν.
το σκέφτομαι για το Storyteller.
Για να δω. Isabel commits a crime. Λοιπόν, όχι, πρώτα βάλε ότι είναι γάμος.
Αυτό έβαλα.
Η τενόρα ποια είναι? Βάλε ότι παντρεύεται την τενόρα για να τη τέτοιο μετά.
Ναι, αλλά αυτή πρέπει να τον αγαπάει πρώτα για να κάνει commit a crime. Και δεν τον αγαπάει άμα δεν παντρευτούν.
Γιατί πρέπει να τον αγαπάει για να κάνει commit a crime?
Τι εννοείς?
Γιατί πρέπει να τον αγαπάει, πού το λέει αυτό?
Η φυσική του λέει.
Ποια φυσική, καλέ?
Ενώ για ποιο λόγο να τον σκοτώσει κάποιον που δεν αγαπάει, ενώ να σκοτώσει τη σκοτεινιά. Πρέπει, εγώ σκεφτόμουν.
Μπορεί να του ζηλεύει.
Εγώ σκεφτόμουν να βάλω την.
Λοιπόν, άκου πώς σκέφτομαι εγώ. Ο Έντγκαρ παντρεύεται την τενόρα και άλλη επειδή είναι ζηλιάρα τη σκοτώνει.
Το βρήκα, ναι.
Τι? Να, ορίστε.
Ναι,
Το είπα εγώ.
το είπες εσύ.
But everyone meets their demise. Βάλε και ότι και αυτές οι δύο πίνουνε κρασί.
Τι εννοείς?
Να πιούνε και αυτές το κρασί.
Τώρα τα είδα αυτά!
Βάλε wine και βάλε και τις άλλες δύο. Α, τώρα δεν είναι δηλητηριασμένο.
Α! Κοίτα εδώ βλέμμα. Να το.
Να το.
Δεν έχω βρει επίσης άλλα. Γιατί τώρα το είδα. Somebody drinks poison twice. Ωραία, πώς το κάνουμε αυτό?
Θα τον αναστήσεις και θα ξαναπιεί.
Αλλά δεν έχει δει το
Βάλε death, βάλε death
Α, μπορώ να
και βάλε τι τύπησε. Έτσι. Όχι, τέτοια πρέπει να το πιει 2 φορές. Όχι ρε. Θα αναστήσεις την τέτοια. Και μετά θα ξαναπιεί δηλητήριο.
Αλλά μετά είναι και λίγο ζωντανή κατά τη στιγμή. Α,
Όχι, αφού αυτός έχει πεθάνει. Καλέ, αυτόν δεν τον ανασταίνεις.
όχι, κατάλαβα τι είναι. Τι είναι,
Τι λέει.
και σε αυτό έχει διπλό. Και σε αυτό έχει διπλό. Εντάξει, αυτό είναι τα. Πάμε στο επόμενο. Without any deaths.
Πρέπει να μάθω να τρώω με chopsticks, δεν γίνεται να είμαι τόσο άχρηστος.
Period. Οπ, πάμε λίγο το case.
Τι?
Ally. Κοίτα λίγο το πρώτο.
Πικ, Βαλεντίνα.
Speak, Valentina. Ally.
Εσύ είσαι αυτή.
In the afterlife.
Το afterlife. Συγγνώμη για τον ήχο, τώρα θα έχετε πλήσιμο πιάτο ASMR για λίγα δευτερόλεπτα. Τώρα τι πρέπει να κάνουμε?
Λοιπόν, πήγα σε καινούριο. Έχουμε
Ναι.
Witch, τη Snowy και τον Prince. Forest
Α,
Curse is lifted.
βάλε την Άγιθα και τη Snowy στο δάσος. Και μετά... Όχι.
Κατά λάθος. Αυτός γιατί τι παθαίνει? Φίλα τι.
Τι μάχητα.
Τον έβαλα φίλης για λίγο δεν κάτι.
Βάλε... Φίλησε τον... Κάνε τον τέτοιον βάτρα. Είναι καλή κοπέλα η Snowy, το την φιλήσει.
Ισχύει. Ναι, όλος είναι μαλάκας. Α!
Νομίζω στο πρώτο frame πρέπει να βάλεις αυτούς να φιλιούνται. Α, και αυτή μαλακισμένη είναι τελικά. Και θυμήθηκα τώρα που βλέπω αυτά. Ήρθε, που λες, την Πέμπτη, ή χθες ήρθε μία στο μαγαζί. Μαλάκα. Ο άντρας της, το γόρι της, δεν κατά ήταν ένας καρακάβλαρος. Παναγία μου, τι φταίει. Και λέω, κούκλα μου, τρως πάρα πολύ καλά σπίτι. Να τον έχει, να τον χαίρεται, γιατί ήταν πάρα πολύ πολύ καλή κοπέλα, ευγενέστατη, με το cis και με το θα. Εν τω μεταξύ δεν ξέρω τι γίνεται, αλλά έρχονται πάρα πολλοί Έλληνες να ψωνίσουν. Έχω δει πάρα πολλούς Έλληνες. Εν τω μεταξύ είναι αυτό, ξέρεις, που είσαι στο ταμείο και αυτοί μιλάνε ελληνικά και νομίζουν ότι δεν καταλαβαίνουν. Τι λέω, και νομίζουν ότι δεν καταλαβαίνεις. Το μίλησα σωστά τα ελληνικά. Το ελληνικά, το μίλησα. Καλό, ελληνικό. Το βρήκες, μπράβο. Καλά, Μαρίνα, πετάει η ομάδα σήμερα.
Έτσι. Period. Look at me. Είναι χειμώνας.
Α, εγώ στην Ιρλανδία μια χαρά είναι, δεν έχει ζέστη. Έχει, αλλά δεν έχει τόσο ζέστη. Το μόνο θετικό. Είναι safe time. Και πάμε λίγο το γκέι. Μήπως να κάνεις... Όχι, το ξέρω, το βρήκα. Θα κάνεις και την Χιονάτη και τον Tiny βάτραχους και θα βάλεις στο frame με τον πρίγκιπα ότι είναι ο βάτραχος Χιονάτη για να νομίζει ότι θα πάει να φιλήσει τη Χιονάτη και θα φιλήσει τον Tiny. Τι είπα το... Τι είπα! Καλά, τι έμπνευση με έπιασε, καλέ. Α, καλά, εντάξει.
Ό,τι καλύτερο είναι αυτή η σκηνή. Okay. Which becomes the Okay.
Μ' αρέσει το μεταξύ που ο πρίγκιπας δεν έχει όνομα, είναι απλά πρίγκιπας. Sexualization, έτσι πάμε στους πρίγκιπες. Οι άντρες, αυνουχισμός. Which becomes the nearest favorite. Άρα πρέπει να τη σκοτώσεις. Λέει...
Τι κάνεις, Σταύρο?
Σταύρο, μπες κλείσει τώρα αμέσως, ηλίθιε.
Άστον, μπορεί να ξύπνησε μόλι.
Όχι, δεν τον αφήνω κανένα έλεος. Θέλω να ακούσω την γλυκιά φωνούλα του. Εσύ δεν θες να την ακούσεις?
Γράψε hi στο chat.
Ναι, Σταύρο, γράψε hi στο chat. Ξαπλωμένος είμαι με 3% μπαταρία. Τι λέει? Βάλ' το να φορτίσει το κινητό και μπες από υπολογιστή στο Discord. Δεν θα την ακούσεις όμως, Άρη, έτσι για να μάθεις. Σταύρο, σοβαρέψου. Σε παρακαλώ πάρα πολύ. Τώρα τι θες να τσεκωθούμε?
Γράψε hi στο chat, Σταύρο.
Ναι, Σταύρο, γράψε hi στο chat. Γιατί θέλουμε να γράψει hi στο chat ο Σταύρος?
Να γράψει hi στο chat.
Α, εντάξει.
Όχι, με ένα...
Τι, με μικρά, τι θες?
Απλά ένα σκέτο hi. Με ένα i.
Έβαλα 3 versions, δεν παίρνει κανένα. Hi.
Δεν το πιάνει.
Δεν το πιάνει. Τι έπρεπε να φτιάνει.
Είχα φτιάξει ένα τέτοιο, λέει, όταν time high, χωρίς να χρειάζεται να κάνει...
Πρέπει να κάνουν tag όμως.
Α, δεν ξέρω. Εντάξει, δεν έχω καταλάβει.
Α, όχι.
High.
Δεν σου λέει.
Επίσης δεν ξέρω να καταλάβει, γιατί όταν πήγα να φτιάξω τα commands αυτά τα τέτοια και
Ναι.
μου έλεγε ότι ξέρεις τι, κάτι τι δεν, να μην πατάω για commands και τέτοια, και όταν έψαξα τα commands δεν έλεγε ότι πρέπει να είσαι affiliated κάτι, πώς μπορεί να τα χρησιμοποιήσεις το Nightbot.
Ναι.
Οπότε δεν ξέρω τι φάση παθαίνει τώρα.
The mirror praises everyone.
Λοιπόν, the mirror praises everyone. Cliff.
Λοιπόν. Όχι. Ωραία. Βάλε πέτα από το τέτοιο. Από το Cliff τον Πίτσι με τον Katie. Slay. Και μετά, ναι, έτσι, και μετά πέτα από το Cliff με τον βάτραχο. Τον Katie με τον βάτραχο. Δεν γίνεται. Κάτι πάει λάθος τότε. Πώς θα το φτιάξουμε αυτό? Μήπως ο βάτραχος είναι πιο ωραίος?
Αυτό λέω.
Όχι, δεν είναι πιο ωραίος. Μήπως το φάντασμα να τον πετάξει τον Haiti? Ωραία. Πρέπει στο τέταρτο frame να βάλεις τον Haiti αντί για το φάντασμα. Ναι. Όχι. Στο τέταρτο frame απλά βάζεις τον Haiti.
Ghost fight. Πήρα achievement για ghost fight.
Κάπα. Λέει. Καλέ, βάζεις τον καθρέφτη στο τέταρτο frame με τον Haiti. Γιατί μπερδεύεσαι? Άντε, έχεις καεί.
Τι είπες να κάνω?
Στο τέταρτο frame βάζεις mirror. Στο τέταρτο, το πρώτο από τα τρία κάτω.
Ναι.
Βάζεις το mirror με τον Haiti, μετά βάζεις το φάντασμα με τον Haiti και μετά βάζεις το Froggy στο τελευταίο με τον mirror.
Αυτό έκανα και δεν μου το έπιασε.
Το τέταρτο, εσύ το βάζεις στο έκτο.
Όχι, και πριν έτσι δεν το είχα κάνει. Κάτσε.
Όχι.
Κάηκα. Όχι, κάτσε, κάηκα. Όντως κάηκα. Bruh. Okay.
Τι κάνει αυτό?
Anyway. Chapter 6.
Αχ, ο κόλλος είναι effect.
Butler.
The Manor.
Butler. Κάτσε να φύγω.
Butler's Rampage.
Πρέπει να βάλω counter για hiccups. Ναι. Λοιπόν.
Ο δικός σου? Ποιος δικός μου? Δεν το κατάλαβα. Στην πρώτη σκηνή λογικά βάζεις Butler και Gun. Έτσι. Τι εννοεί ο δικός σου, Άρη, δεν κατάλαβα. Duke feels relief.
Slay. Ανέφερα λίγο αυτό. Πριν έκαψα πολύ το κεφάλι μου, αλλά τώρα ήταν ok.
Τώρα πέφτει. Κάηκε.
Ο λόγος, η φάση ότι αύριο δίνω μάθημα και δεν έχω διαβάσει τίποτα, πώς σας φαίνεται.
Τι δίνεις?
Κλασική αρχαιολογία.
Slay.
Δεν έχω ιδέα.
Να γράψω εγώ για σένα.
Detective arrest. Murderer.
Τι ώρα?
Καλά, είμαι πανέξυπνη.
Slay.
Πανέξυπνη. Her.
Slay.
Detective arrest.
Σταύρο,
Ότι
πες
πρέπει
κλείσεις
πάντα να
εσύ.
το κάνει ο Butler, δεν το καταλαβαίνω αυτό.
Detective arrests innocent. Α,
Too easy. Too easy.
too easy, πραγματικά.
Four deaths.
Crown.
Okay. Slay.
Lol. Φαντάσου να γινόταν αυτό, να πέθαινες, να ξαναζήσεις, να σκότωνες αυτό, να γινόταν, να ξανασκότωνε.
The Queen Merits.
Αχ, η Βασίλισσα, εγώ είμαι αυτή.
Α, αυτή αγαπάει τον εαυτό της.
Εγώ.
Kidnap.
Play.
The Queen marries again. Disguise. Τι είναι disguise? Για να την παντρευτεί.
Έτσι. Όχι, περίμενε. Ναι, όχι, καλά το έχεις κάνει. Μπράβο.
Slay.
Άρε Μαρίνα, παρά είσαι έξυπνη.
Αχ, και στα δικά μας λέει να ζήσουμε.
A fearsome dragon. Άρα βάλε να τη σώσει ο δράκος. Το ότι η βασίλισσα είναι φούρη, όταν εγώ σας λέω ότι είναι εγώ η βασίλισσα. Play. Αχ, και στα δικά μας να ζήσουμε, λέει ο Τάβρας. Secrets. Detective arrests mentor. Άντε πάλι. Πόσο chapters έχει?
Κοίτα από πίσω. Period. Butler gets fired.
Απολύες.
Πολύεσαι.
Υποθέτω ότι πρέπει να βάλεις τον Duke να κάνει witness στον Butler να παίρνει το όπλο.
Ναι, αυτό.
Slay.
Όχι. Το γυρίσω εδώ. Να βάλω έτσι. Αφού το ξέρει, γιατί αγαπάει πολύ το όνομα του.
Τι το παίρνει, αλλά μου δε. Spouse gets vengeance. Δολοφόνα δούκισα.
The true slay. That is get Butler arrested. Έλα και αυτό είναι εύκολο. Δεν ξέρω γιατί είχα τόσο πολύ θέμα στην αρχή. Στην αρχή είχα πολύ struggle. Πάρα πολύ struggle. Και αυτά είναι πιο φάση περισσότερες λεπτομέρειες, αλλά για κάποιο λόγο είναι easier.
Play.
Easier. Slay, but the Duke isn't home.
But the Duke isn't home. Μήπως του σκοτώνει τον detective. Βάλε ότι σκοτώνει τον detective και μετά πες το στο βαρώνω. Λούκας είναι, όχι Βαράνος. Εντάξει, Σταύρο. Να έμπαινες στο voice να με διόρθωνες. The Duke isn't home. Σκοτώνει αυτό στη δούκησα και το βλέπει ο detective.
Ναι, κι εγώ αυτό θα έκανα.
Δεν βγάζει νόημα, λες.
Δεν λέει Duchess get butler arrested, οπότε αυτή δεν πρέπει να πεθάνει.
Δεν μπορώ να κάτι χάνω. Μήπως να κάνει witness ο detective ότι ο Butler παίρνει το όπλο. Άμα βάλεις τη δούκησα να μιλήσει με τον detective αφού δει η δούκησα ότι αυτός παίρνει το όπλο.
Θυμάστε που είπα ότι δεν έκανα, τώρα είναι μια χαρά και εύκολα. Το παίρνω πίσω.
Πραγματικά παλιογκαντέμα. Παλιογκαντέμα ρε φίλε.
Τέλεια. Slay.
Stop, αυτή έπρεπε να πεθάνει, αλλιώς δεν έβγαζε νόημα.
Ναι, κάποιος πρέπει να πεθάνει, αλλά πρέπει πρώτα να μιλήσουν κιόλας με τον detective και γι' αυτό χάθηκα.
Ναι, τι χαζαμάρα, πραγματικά τι χαζό.
Drink some water.
A bottle of water.
Okay. Treason.
Justice.
Dies. Τι είναι αυτό? Dies.
Usurper είναι αυτός που παίρνει το θρόνο. Άρα πρώτα βάζει το θρόνο τη βασίλισσα, όλη της να πει το καφεδάκι της. Μετά βάζεις τον τέτοιο να την κάνει kidnap.
Slain by the hands of the night. By the hands of the night. Να πάρει το θρόνο οι άλλοι. Κάνεις κάτι τέτοιο.
Σταύρο, είσαι πάρα πολύ βλάκας που δεν μπαίνεις. Μπορεί αυτός να κάνει execute τη βασίλισσα. Ο Βαρώνος. Άμα βάλεις το τρίτο frame, το Βαρώνο να κάνει execute τη βασίλισσα.
Καλά, είσαι queen.
Το ξέρω.
Για λίγο είχα μαγκώσει λίγο. Έχασα κάποια εγκεφαλικά κύτταρα. Knight loses his hand.
Α, revive. Α, κατάλαβα. Όχι. Λοιπόν, στο πρώτο frame είναι η βασίλισσα που είναι στο θρόνο. Στο δεύτερο frame πεθαίνει η βασίλισσα και βλέπει την Tafo Knight. Στο τρίτο frame παίρνει το κράνος ο Knight.
Στο δεύτερο frame τι είπες?
Πεθαίνει η βασίλισσα και βλέπει τον Tafo Knight.
Σωστό.
Η βασίλισσα πεθαίνει. Καλά, η Βασίλισσα πεθαίνει. Εσύ βάζεις να πεθαίνει ο Night. Στην ταφόπλακα πάνω. Μπράβο, και κοιτάει ο Night. Οπότε μετά παίρνει το θρόνο ο Night. Και μετά γίνεται revive η Βασίλισσα και τον σκοτώνει που πήρε το θρόνο.
Δεν έχει νόημα αυτό.
Τι λες, καλέ. Μπορεί απλά να θέλει να το βγάλει στο πρώτο το frame και το πας όλα ένα αριστερά.
Αυτό, αυτό δεν είχε ένα νόημα εδώ.
Βγάλε το πρώτο. Ναι, αυτό. Το πρώτο frame να είναι ο θάνατος.
Εντάξει, αυτός τον αγαπούσε, αλλά η άλλη τσούλα έπρεπε να τον σκοτώσει. Γιατί πιστεύει.
Καλά έκανε, πήρε το θρόνο.
Εκείνος φταίει που πέθανε η άλλη.
Μπορεί να τη δηλητηρίασε.
Γυναίκες.
Γυναίκες λέει, γιατί τι είσαι άντρας.
Πάρει μαγκάς.
Πόσο τον έχεις?
Πολύ.
22 εκατοστά.
Execution.
The execution.
Είμαι Slay. Μέχρι τώρα. Πάρε πίσω τις μνήμες της ή όχι.
Βάλε αυτόν ότι ξεχνάει ότι είναι παντρεμένη και να την κάνει έξι του.
Και το ανάποδο δεν μπορεί να γίνει. Αυτή αφού παθαίνει μισή τη φάση όμως.
Όχι, νομίζω τώρα αυτός πρέπει να πάθει αμνησία για να τον βάλεις να κάνει έξι του.
Ναι. Of the Queen και μετά of the Power.
Α. Αυτή τον θέλει.
Ναι.
Όχι, εννοώ άμα βάλεις στο πρώτο frame γάμο, αυτή τον θέλει ή όχι.
Όχι, όχι.
Άμα δεν τον θέλει, πώς θα γίνει?
Αγαπάει τον εαυτό της. Όχι, πρέπει να πάθει αμνησία. Δεν έχει κάποιον να τη σώσει. Για να βγει από εδώ.
Ναι, όχι, ναι, αυτά είναι όλα σωστά, έχεις δίκιο, πρέπει να γίνει αυτό και να τη σώσει αυτός.
Πώς να την κάνεις για να σώσει, να τη σώσει, να είναι, δεν πάρει. Εξεκίσου.
Άμα αυτός πάθει αμνησία και βάλεις αυτή να τον κάνει execute, τον κάνει.
Νομίζω όχι. Γιατί αυτή τον θυμάται, αλλά και άμα κάνει και αυτή επίσης να πάθει αμνησία, πάλι δεν τον σκοτώνει για κάποιο λόγο.
Πώς θα γίνει? Το δοκιμάσαμε αυτό, δεν δουλεύει.
Πάθαινε αμνησία.
Α, εννοείς να μην παντρευτούν, ναι.
Ναι. Γιατί δεν μπορεί να τον σκοτώσει, αφού έχει πάθει αμνησία αυτή. Δεν τον θυμάται ότι της έσωσε στη ζωή. Και καλά, ενώ εκείνος την έβαλε εκεί.
Ευτυχώς τις μέρες αμνησία έχει πάθει πραγματικά. Λοιπόν, στο πρώτο frame άμα τους βάλεις και τους δύο δεν παντρεύονται, έτσι. Άμα βάλεις το πρώτο frame ότι το πρώτο frame είναι ο γάμος, ας πούμε.
Κάικα.
Ρωτώ αν μπορούν να ξεκινήσουν παντρεμένοι.
Δεν μπορούν να ξεκινήσουν παντρεμένοι. Η άλλη αγαπάει τον εαυτό της. Δες, περίμενε.
Ναι, αλλά βάλ' τον στο frame και αυτό. Όχι. Του λέει όχι, φύγε από εδώ. Άμα δεν πάθει αμνησία η Queen και την ελευθερώσει αυτός και πρώτον κάνει execute. Τι είπα τώρα,
Αχα. Μετά από 800 εγκεφαλικά κύτταρα να φύγουν από το κεφάλι μου, τι κάναμε? Πάω στο κεφάλι μου τώρα αυτό.
Πω, όντως, what the fuck.
Πάω στο κεφάλι μου.
Wow. Μαρίνα, 800 IQ.
Έτσι, Slay.
Queen suffers 4 tragedies.
Έτσι, Slay. Λοιπόν.
Σταύρος, όσο είσαι εξαπλωμένος, τσέκαρε μία το Castle Crashers που το έχει 2 ευρώ στο Steam. Να παίξουμε άμα είναι με τη Μαρίνα. Και Κατάν. Θέλετε Κατάν? Δεν θέλετε Κατάν, μάλλον. Δεν έχετε κανένα stream, βάλω, ας τις αηδίες σου. Πώς θα γίνει τώρα? Λοιπόν, η Βασίλη θα πρέπει να πεθάνει αρχικά. Καθόλου αηδίας δεν είμαι. Διχάζετε το κοινό σας. Δεν γίνεται να σπάζετε η μισή στη Μαρίνα, η μισή στη Θένα. Καλά δεν τα λέω, Μαρίνα. Ο Σταύρος μας παρατάει, πάει να παίξει Valorant τη Χριστίνα. Πειράζει.
Κάηκα. Help. Help.
Κατσαρίφα είσαι και φαίνεσαι που θα με τσιπήσεις εμένα κατσαρίφα. Δεν προσπαθώ να διχάσω τίποτα, λέω τις αλήθειες. Εάν... Βάλε πρώτα ότι κάνει execute το night και μετά ότι κάνει για execute αυτήν. Μαρίνα, λολ.
Πόσα tragedies είναι? 1, 2, 3. Α, είναι 3. Help. Help.
Κοίταξε, το ένα tragedy είναι ότι πεθαίνει σίγουρα. Λογικά το άλλο tragedy είναι ότι πεθαίνει ο Knight και αυτή το βλέπει. Καλά. Χαιρετώ μαράκια, το πούμε άμα είναι. Γιατί φεύγω? Γιατί δεν θέλω να δω άλλο storyteller. Άμα είναι να παίξουμε Castle Crashers, πες μου. Για να το αγοράσω. Φυλάκια και στο stream. Αντίον άλλα nation.
Έχω κάψει όλα τα κύτταρά μου αυτή τη στιγμή. Στα πρώτη ώρα θα παίξετε με τη Χριστίνα. Κοίτα, για να μας έχει το εξύπνιο που πρέπει να το χρησιμοποιήσουμε. Σταύρο, είδες αυτό που σου στείλα στο Discord? Α, περίμενε.
Α, μπορούμε να μπούμε κομπέδι.
Hello!
Όχι.
Γεια σου, Μαρίνα.
Το μισό σερβερ θα περάσει.
Μόλις ήταν ο Ήρα και τον εξή λέω τη φάση γιατί δεν είναι μέσα. Πρέπει λίγο τον είδα.
Ariana, what are you doing?
Ariana, what are you doing here? Θέλω help. Τι παίζετε, τι παίξετε.
Ένα.
Είναι. Ας βρίσκω τότε.
Ποια είναι τι?
Πάτα start, ζω.
Καλά. Να πατήσω στα πατώ start. Τίποτα, ούτε τέτοιο, ούτε warm-up, ούτε τίποτα, έτσι θα πέσουμε. Την ίδια φάση είχαμε και χθες. Και βγήκα ένα MVP. Και ένα το κερδίσαμε 13-5.
Μα πώς, δεν έχεις game sense.
Σωστά. Πρέπει να έχουν και ροζ λεμονάδα. Σου έψαν, δεν έχω... Δεν κάνω
Γράφεται με «η» μόνο.
SCH, πώς γράφεται το... Sweps. Έτσι όπως τα ακούς.
Andrew Sweps. Ο Andrew είναι ένας American
Α.
mixer engineer, recording engineer και record producer. Α, είναι και label owner, based in LA and the UK.
Λοιπόν. Οκ. Αρχικά. Τι βλέπω εδώ. Όχι. The phantom of the opera is... near. Λοιπόν, νομίζω αρκετά storyteller για τώρα, δεν ξέρω. Πόνο στο κεφάλι μου. Έλεγα αυτό το τελευταίο level να το παίξω, αλλά ναι, δεν ξέρω. Θα δείξει, δεν ξέρω. Η σκέψη μου βέβαια όμως ήταν, τι θα λέγατε για JCS videos. Παίρνει. Ωραία, ωραία. Λοιπόν, μισό λεπτό ακόμα γιατί έχουμε technical difficulties. Be right back. Hello. Okay. Γενικά είναι lesson αυτό. Να μην ξεκινάω stream άμα δεν είμαι τελείως prepared. Πολλά θεματάκια, αλλά όχι, εντάξει, το έχουμε. Πιστεύω κομπλέ. Εννοείται JCS video. Ίσως παίξουμε πιο μετά ξανά κανένα storyteller, άμα τέτοιο, αλλά δεν ξέρω γιατί και αύριο δίνω, οπότε δεν ξέρω. Ίσως πρέπει να ξυπνήσω νωρίς. Θα δείξει, δεν ξέρω. Λοιπόν, για να κάνω update the title. Okay. Yes.
At exactly 3:25 p.m. on April 8th of 2009, the dismissal bell rang at Oliver Stevens School in Woodstock, Ontario, and hundreds of grade schoolers were seen leaving the premises. Yet one 8-year-old was captured on surveillance leaving 2 minutes later than the rest, as she had to run back inside to get her mother's butterfly earrings that were left on her desk. Her name was Tori Stafford, and on that Wednesday afternoon, she never returned home. She was reported missing by her grandmother at exactly 6:04 p.m., and a missing persons investigation was launched immediately. Roughly 7 hours later, surveillance footage from a local high school was discovered, capturing what police say was the missing child, walking side by side an unidentified woman. Tori did not appear to be struggling in the video, and the woman was described as between 19 to 25 years of age, white, 5'2", and about 125 pounds with a black ponytail. The local police made a public appeal for the woman in the video to come forward, and Tori's grandparents offered a $10,000 reward for her return. A Facebook group dedicated to finding her gained over 20,000 followers in under 24 hours. On April 12th, 4 days after her disappearance, hundreds gather in Woodstock at 8 p.m. to hold a vigil for Tori, and her mother makes a tearful televised appeal for the return of her missing daughter. Over the following week, Tori's parents are interviewed by investigators, and each of them pass a polygraph test. Police call off ground searches 6 days after the child's disappearance after finding no clues nor leads. The day after, America's Most Wanted features Tori's case as its top story. On April 17th, the Ontario Provincial Police take the lead in the investigation, and the ground searches recommence. The case was then officially classed as an abduction, not just a missing person. They step up a media campaign by releasing a composite sketch of the woman in the video, and then circulate the image on social media and local news outlets. On May 19th, police attain information that the woman is 18-year-old Terry Lynn McClintock, who is already in custody for breaching a probation order for a previous drug violation. She was transferred to the Ontario Police Headquarters and interviewed at roughly 5:30 p.m. by Detective Sergeant Jim Smith. She initially denied being the woman in the video and claimed to know nothing about the missing girl, but roughly 45 minutes into the interrogation, she breaks.
I think it goes right back to what you've said a few times. You didn't want to see it, okay? But that doesn't change the fact that you saw it, okay? And that's what you need to be truthful about. And I know it's hard to talk about. I know it's even harder to talk about than the sex part of it, okay? But you saw it, okay? You know you saw it. And we need to talk about that.
When I seen Mike with Tori on his lap, like, I turned my head because I didn't want to see it. I could hear her calling my name.
Okay, so tell me what happened.
She describes in disturbing detail the abduction and killing of Tori Stafford, stating that she lured the girl into a secluded parking space with the promise of showing her a puppy. She was then forced into the back seat of a vehicle that immediately drove away. In the driver's seat was 28-year-old Michael Rafferty, who then drove to a secluded area about 100 miles north of Woodstock. He then proceeded to sexually assault and then murder the 8-year-old, with the fatal injuries being 4 strikes to the head with a claw hammer. McClintock drew a rough sketch of the area where Tori was killed, which eventually led police to discover the girl's remains. She was found with lacerations to her liver and 16 broken ribs, but her eventual cause of death correlated with Terry's testimony, as was confirmed to be the result of repeated blows to the head with a blunt object. At 7:55 p.m. that evening, Michael Rafferty is arrested and informed that he is being charged with kidnapping and first-degree murder. He is read his rights and then brought to the police headquarters for immediate interrogation.
Come on in and grab a chair. That'll unfold, so that's a blanket for you there, okay? Tea, I think they might have only put 1 sugar in it, I think they got it mixed up. And there's a plain donut there for you. I had a cereal bar, but if you get hungry or anything else, just let me know, okay? If you have any,
I've eaten since noon.
You haven't eaten since noon? Okay, are you hungry now? I can get you a full meal if you want.
Yes, okay.
You bacon and eggs, or do you want something
I think
else?
I'm too sick to talk.
Okay.
This is ridiculous.
That's okay, you can listen, and if you have any questions as we go along, there's no issues there at all, okay?
Okay.
I got a few things I'll talk to you about. As I told you, my name is Chris, my last name is Lone. I understand your name is Michael. Now, do you go by Mike or Michael, what's your preference? Okay, so I'll probably call you Mike, so unless that really offends you, just leave it with me. I'm gonna go over a few things here today, okay, Mike? Like I say, don't be shy. You'll find I'm pretty relaxed, pretty laid back, because I've dealt with these types of issues before.
The Ontario Provincial Police have a highly trained behavioral sciences unit, and their subdivision of forensic psychiatry is recognized as one of the best in the world. At first, you will see the familiar strategy of rapport development. The investigator will retain a friendly and almost nonchalant disposition throughout the opening phase of the interrogation. The perception of solidarity and respect will make the suspect more likely to cooperate and take things into consideration, while the detective's easygoing disposition will also downplay the severity of the crime, thus making the gravity of admission far less intimidating.
Anytime that you have a question, all right, don't be shy. Now, I have no issues getting you any food there, so if there's something that you want, okay, I'll get you some food. There's no problems. Now, like I say, I get that for you in about 5 minutes. So, but my job is, as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm from what's called the behavioral sciences section, and we're talking about the missing person when Tori Stafford went missing. And I know you were following a little bit in the media, and you'd follow some little bits and pieces that there was behavioral sciences people involved, right? And sometimes they were criminal profilers. There's been other members in there as well. Threat assessment, and that's what one of my roles is as well. In threat assessment, what my job is to determine the risk. Okay, what's the risk of a certain situation? Now, the situation that we're talking about is you're going to find here that there's nothing you're going to tell me to surprise me. Okay, for two reasons. One, I've heard a lot of this stuff before. The second reason is I'm fortunate enough to know what all the case facts are. Okay, so what I have to do is assess what I perceive is a threat. So are you going to go out and kill more people after this situation is done? Okay, that's what my job is, to assess threat level. All right, I already know you're responsible for one death. Okay, so that's what my job is to determine what's happened here. All right.
Staff Sergeant Chris Loam had been a police officer for over 21 years and was a member of the Behavioral Sciences Unit for the last 17. At the time this interrogation took place, he was the head of the analysis section. This meant he was in charge of criminal profiling, threat assessment, and forensic psychiatry. He indicates that his only purpose is to assess the suspect's threat.
Είναι η ώρα του φαγητού της Νάλας. Ναι. Τι θέλεις? Έλα, πάμε. Okay, πάμε.
Level. Yet this variety of threat assessment is only applied to less severe infractions. With relation to rape and murder, the serious nature of the crime means that the threat level is already assessed long before any form of psychoanalysis takes place. In reality, the investigator's primary purpose is to gain an understanding of the suspect's character and then use this knowledge to try and influence both his reasoning and decision-making.
Before we go through all that, though, my people just don't wake up one day and decide this is going to happen, and I know that, all right? So there's a lot of ideas that go in people's heads at the time, and if I go through, and I go through your history and your background, there's not a whole hell of a lot you've been involved in life, is there, right? You're completely under the radar. Anyway, so I'm going to go through a few things with you here, all right? Obviously, you're upset by what's going on. You're here for a reason, and right back at the beginning, the investigators and the case manager, the officer in charge, said that I'm going to follow the evidence and go where the evidence leads me. Okay? And now you're here because the evidence has led the investigators to you. All right? And then I get involved after that. There's been people that I work with in behavioral sciences that have been here from the outset of the investigation. But really, at this point in time, I mean, when I go in and look at your history, there's very little on there. Like I say, you've flown under the radar. You haven't had any major problems with the police, okay? But now all of a sudden you're involved in this situation, and it's a serious situation, and it's a scary situation. I'm sure you're quite upset and quite concerned about what's going on here. All right. Now the last one I was involved with like this, I don't know if you're aware of it, was a girl named Holly Jones in Toronto when she went missing, and the guy that had abducted her, his name was Michael Briere. What he was doing is he was watching on his computer for hours and hours and hours. He was looking at child porn to the point that he decides, I want to go try this. And he goes and he grabs Holly and he does some things to her. And then he realizes, what am I gonna do, okay? And he panics, he doesn't know what to do, because she's a witness now, and he says, if I just let her go, she's gonna tell on me. So he decides that he's not gonna let her go, all right? And all that was from something as simple as watching child pornography for hours on end. These things happen, okay? And we can't say it happened close to home. Toronto's not that far from you.
These things happen? No! No! No!
Okay?
Έχει πάει
These
το
things happen
και
all the
καλά
time,
φίλος
right? So what I need
detective
to
σε
do
άλλο
is sit with
επίπεδο.
you. I already know how. I know the who's, right? Why? I mean, why is up to you, but I can actually probably fill in that blank for you, but that's not what my role here is. If I'm going to assess risk here and see, number one, do you even feel bad about what you've done? That's the first thing I look for. And number two, do I think, okay, he doesn't feel bad, so he's probably going to do this again because he really doesn't care about it the first time it's happened, okay? I'm not at all upset with you. I'm not mad at you. I don't mind sitting here talking with you. You'll know if I don't want to talk to you because I'll just simply leave, right? From reading about you, this to me seems like it's out of character. Now, I could be wrong, right? You may have been planning this for a long period of time, and you may have thoroughly enjoyed this. And if I'm wrong, then you tell me that, all right? But I also know that we all make mistakes, okay? And that's why pencils have erasers, okay? Because we all make mistakes. It's that simple. Spending time with you here, and if I'm wrong, you tell me, but it looks like if you could turn back time, maybe there's a few decisions in life you'd made a little bit different, all right? If I could turn back time for you, Mike, I would, but it's not that simple, okay? So now you and I have to sit here and face what's happened, okay? I can sit and tell you what happened. I can take you through the day of her disappearance, okay? I mean, I've seen the video, all right? And I know that you didn't do this alone. But at the end of the day, we got to deal with this situation, okay? Because it's a young girl that we got to talk about, and if you and I don't sit and talk about your side, then people will only think the worst, right? It's human nature, right? You've done it and I've done it. We always think the worst until we know the facts, okay? So that's what you and I need to sit here and work and discuss and work through. Again, if I'm wrong, you tell me, okay? But I really believe if you could turn back time, you would deal with this a little bit different, okay? And there may have been a rush, it may have been exciting for a period of time, but then reality sets in. You have to sit and live with the fact of what's happened here, okay? And that's what we're doing here. We have to sit and deal with what's happened. Really, at this point, what you have left is your word and your credibility. And people always think the worst, okay? Until they know the truth. You do it and I do it. It's human nature. So we're all going to think the worst until we know why this has happened in your mind. And again, if it's something where you're like Michael Briere, where you looked at a lot of child porn and then decided you were going to try it, then that's fine. If it wasn't your idea, then that's fine too. But we can't change what the case facts are, all right? You know deep down that this is your chance to get it off your chest. You're not sitting there the rest of your life saying, I guess I should have said something, all right? I guess I should have got it off my chest and said my side. Because this is your last chance to do it. The fact that you're here and the fact that they've already, they know where the victim is, okay, and they know your steps, this is it. You have to take the steps now to live the rest of your life, okay? This is what you have to do. You and I need to talk about this, okay?
It's always interesting to examine a suspect's demeanor while being interrogated, especially compared to how they most likely were while committing their violation. The suspect here is a quivering mess, acting like a helpless victim, wallowing in his own self-pity while vying for sympathy. Essentially the opposite of how he was while attacking Tori Stafford. It's ironic that the powerless and vulnerable complexion he is trying to portray here is exactly what his victim would have felt at the time she was attacked. The sympathy he is trying to garner for himself is clearly what he lacked for the 8-year-old child he raped and murdered.
So I've got to determine, as part of my job, when all is said and done here, do I think Mike's done? This is it, he's made his mistake. He realizes how wrong the mistake that he made, and he's willing to look past it? Or do I have to sit here and say, all right, my report's going to say very simple, I think this guy's going to reoffend. And that's what our job is. We deal with these types of situations and the reasons why people do this stuff, okay? Like I say, this may have been a thing that you just snapped and did something. That stuff happens. Or it may have been something you planned for many months and got some enjoyment out of the plan.
I didn't do anything.
Well, that's not entirely true.
That is
Okay?
entirely true.
No.
I didn't do anything.
No, you can try and cement yourself into that, okay? But at the same time, you're not doing yourself any good by not being truthful here, okay?
The investigator wants to come across as empathetic and understanding, yet still needs to keep the suspect's confidence low. He watches for denials and stops them immediately. Letting the suspect deny his guilt will only increase his morale, thus increase his psychological endurance and constancy for self-preservation. This needs to be stripped away as much as possible, as early as possible.
Because by not being truthful, all you have left is your credibility, Mike. That's all you have left, okay? You're not the only person who's been arrested and charged, okay? And there's no surprises left anymore, okay? It's not even a surprise, it's why this happened.
I'm also not the only innocent person who's ever been arrested and charged.
Well, and that's true. There's been people that have been arrested for things where there's no evidence, but unfortunately in this case, there's lots of evidence to determine your role in this crime, okay? The girl who's on the video who walks away with Tori has been identified. And she's been identified as her and Tori being in your car. And the three of you and her and Tori, go to the Guelph area, go to the Home Depot, okay? And the grabbing of Tori, there was a planned event that you were going to grab her. You're going to grab a girl. But this other person was going to do it, and the other person got the girl, put her in your car, all right? And then there's other steps that are taken from there. Okay, there's things that happen at Home Depot, there's things that happen outside of Guelph, and there's things that happen to Tori, all right, before she's gone, and you're involved in that, and you can't mask that, you can't change it, okay?
No.
Because what's happened has happened. I can't turn back the hands of time, and neither can you, okay? There's nothing I can do to turn back the hands of time and say, I wish Mike would have reacted to this situation a little bit differently, okay? There's no doubt in my mind, okay? There's no doubt in my mind that you're involved in the abduction, okay, of Tori. No doubt in my mind at all. I followed the evidence, I've read the file, okay? There's no doubt in my mind. We're past that, okay? And the only concern or the issue that I have is why you did this. What caused you to do this? Was it something you, like I say, is this something you've done before and you've been involved in the death of other people and you enjoyed this? Am I sitting across the desk from Paul Bernardo here? Am I sitting across from someone who's made a mistake? Okay? And that's going to be the question that's asked of you. All right? I'll get you a bucket there just a second. If you got to get sick, fill your boots there. Okay? I've seen it before. You're not going to offend me or bother me. So if you got to be sick, Mike, go right ahead. Okay? I'll get you some paper towels or something. If you feel like you're going to be sick, just grab the. I'll have the bucket there handy for you. Okay? Just leave it right there. You and I need to have a discussion. This isn't a parking ticket, okay? This.
Τώρα παριστάνει ότι είναι και καλά άρρωστος, γιατί πρώτα έκανες αυτά τα πράγματα. Δηλαδή μόνος σου επέλεξες να την κάνεις sexual assault και να την σκοτώσεις. Μπρο. Μέχρι και η Νάλα τρελάθηκε.
This is reality, okay? And people are, I've already told you, you know this. People assume the worst until they know the truth, okay? And people are going to assume the worst of you, unless you and I sit here and clarify it. Okay, something's pushed you to do this. Okay, you can't just fly under the radar your entire life. Okay, Mike? It doesn't happen. It's not realistic. Okay? I'm not going to sit and tell you that it happened. Something brings this on. And when you sit and talk to someone who had a troubled life like Michael Briere and just gets pushed into doing this and panics and thinks, what would it be like to take a kid and touch and rub a kid and then wish you could stop, okay? And people can't, and that's the whole issue here, all right?
The detective seems to be almost rambling here, but this is a common strategy used to keep the suspect's mind racing. When Rafferty is concentrating on what the detective is saying, it doesn't give him a chance to conjure up his own thoughts, making it very hard for him to either think up a lie or disassociate from the situation altogether. It's a methodical process of breaking a suspect down through mental exhaustion and slowly chipping away at his psychological stamina piece by piece.
We can't control every emotion, all right? We can't control some of our urges, some of our thoughts. None of us can, okay? And I can't look you in the face and say I haven't made a mistake or made a bad decision in life, because I have. The reality of it is, you and I have to accept that and move on, okay? Because I can walk out there and never see you again. Like, I can do that, right? My job here is done. The job here is done, as you'll find out tomorrow, as things start to be released. There is no more questions. There is no more long, drawn-out investigations. They're already sending people home to spend time with their families, okay? They're scaling back what's happened because it's been cleared, and they know what's happened, and the pieces of evidence have been gathered. So that's reality. I can't downplay that. But you and I need to walk out of here together, okay, with what happened here. You and I have to sit and say, this is what pushed Mike over the top. This is what pushed Mike to get involved in something like this. Because if I don't, then you sit here on your own and you have to take it. Okay, and is that necessarily fair? All right?
I have to sit here on my own anyways and take this.
To an extent you do, yes. You have to sit there and decide, am I going to get rid of this and get this off my chest so people understand my side, or am I going to sit there curled up and keep it in for the rest of my life? All right? You need to be realistic about this, okay? You have no battle plan to deal with this, right? It's happened, it's spun out of control, and you're thinking, okay, if I ever get caught for it, what am I going to do? Well, your plan isn't going to work, okay? Because you're not built for this shit. This isn't what you're about, okay? You're not some sick bastard, right? That sits there and gets enjoyment out of hurting people, all right? So now you have to live with this, okay? And to live with it, one of the first ways, right? It's like if someone's an alcoholic, what's the first thing they have to do? Acknowledge they got the issue, all right? You have an issue here in that there's overwhelming evidence, compelling evidence that indicates you're involved in what's happened to Tori, okay? And I can't change that and you can't change that at this stage. But you need to be honest and you need to understand your credibility, Mike, is all you have left. All you have left from here on in is your credibility. And you sitting here saying nothing doesn't do you a bit of good because no one's gonna know. And then all of a sudden, 10 years from now or 5 years from now, you decide to say something, who's gonna listen? Nobody, okay? This is your chance to say your piece, all right? Like I say, if you want, and you can see probably I'm trying not to out of respect actually for you, but I can sit and get as graphic as I want, okay? Because none of this stuff bothers me because I've seen it hundreds of times, okay? But if I sit and go over what's happened here with Tori, you may not be real happy about it because it's going to cause you to relive all this crap, okay? And maybe you want to, because I can tell you I've sat with guys that wanted me to say it again so they could hear what they've accomplished. And I've had that, where they want me to say it 2 and 3 times because they get a rush out of that. I don't think that's you, okay? You're not some sick guy, okay? I'm not sitting across from Paul Bernardo, okay?
Δεν είναι τι? Εντάξει, όσο και να προσπαθείς να γίνεις παρηγόρη από αυτό και να θέλεις να κάνεις τον άλλον να φανεί ότι και καλά είμαι φίλος σου, προσπαθώ να σε βοηθήσω, εντάξει, έλα, φιλαράκια, απάντηση κτλ. Υπάρχει ένα line, ας πούμε, κάπου σε όλο αυτό, δεν ξέρω, νιώθω περίεργα με αυτόν τον detective, τον interrogation, τέλος πάντων.
I know that, and I know people that have sat across from him, okay? And I know 2 officers that have in different stages of their lives, okay? And I know what he's all about. You're not that guy, all right? But at the same time, you can't just sit here and say, well, I hope this all goes away, right? This isn't like a list your girlfriend gives you to say, here's a list of things to do. Can you go pick up a few things at the grocery store for me and get some gas? This isn't what that is, okay? This is a lot more serious than a to-do list. We need to deal with reality. And the reality of it is your credibility is all you have left at this point. If you sit there and say nothing, everybody's going to assume the worst, okay? And you may be painted with a picture that you're not real happy with, okay? And I'm the only one that feels like sitting in here with you, right? There's no investigators lined up in here sitting with you. Why do you think that is? Right? Because they've been working at this for weeks, okay? They're tired, and they've been away from their families, and none of them want to come in here and talk to you, okay? I have no issue with that. I'm neutral. I don't have these issues. I haven't been away from my family. I don't mind talking to you. Like, I've talked to people that have been involved in things far worse than what they're saying you did here. Far worse, okay? And I can sit and list the things that I've been involved in. There are people who have done things that have been a threat to our national security, terrorism in Canada. Or I've dealt with people that have been involved in murdering more than 3 people, all right?
Okay, η αυτού του, η μέθοδος είναι φάση, είναι πολύ καλός ηθοποιός ή δεν ξέρω κι εγώ τι, like, μου φαίνεται περίεργο όλο αυτό.
I've been involved with people who have abducted and taken the life of children. I've been involved in it. I've dealt with many people who are sex offenders that habitually and repeatedly touch and molest children. I've dealt with that. That stuff doesn't bother me, okay? But what's going on here is that you're just in there, you're just a big bundle of nerves, and you don't know what to do. You don't know whether to sit here, shake, shit, puke, you don't know what to do. But the reality of it is, at the end of the day, the evidence is the evidence, okay? And the evidence clearly shows you're responsible for the abduction of Tori, okay? And I also know that she's no longer with us, okay? And you're responsible for that too, okay? And there's a sexual component to this as well. So you might want to sit and get this off your chest and go through your side with me, all right? Because if I just walk away, at minimum, that's what people are going to think, at minimum. But you have some explaining to do, okay? That's reality. I can't change that, okay? If this is something that got out of control, that you just planned on taking her and you thought you were going to put her back, or just take her for a ride, that's fine. It got out of hand, then we need to talk about that, okay? You need to sit and explain that and say why, okay? If not, then I say people think the worst until they know. There is no other way. You don't have any other options. There's nothing else that you can do to change what's happened to her. We can't turn back time. However, we can explain how things got off the rails, whether it was something that happened slowly or just went right off the rails right from the beginning. Why do you think the OPP has a behavioral sciences section? This is all the stuff that we deal with, okay? We deal with occurrences that are unusual. We deal with situations that aren't regular situations, and that's not what this is. This isn't a regular situation. This is a couple of people that made a series of decisions that hopefully they understand aren't quite right and that they feel bad about. I don't think that you're some kind of monster. If I did, you'll find me pretty candid. You'll find that I'll come right out and tell you, Mike, okay? I don't think that, okay? I think this got out of control. I think it got out of hand, okay? Are you some kind of monster? Or did you make a mistake here? You made a mistake, right? This is a mistake, right, Mike? You'd take it back if you could? This is a mistake, right, Mike? You'd take it back? If you could turn back the hands of time, Mike, would you do this a little bit different? Mike, talking to you. If you could turn back the hands of time, you're not some monster. You made a mistake, right? You'd take this back if you could? This is a mistake, Mike. You need to deal with this.
I am no monster,
I know
but
you're
I
not a
did
monster.
not do what you think I did.
I know you did. We're past that, okay?
No.
We're past that, Mike, okay?
Mm-mm.
I know you're not a monster. If I thought you're a monster, I would tell you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't just walk out. I would spend some time with you. If I thought you're a monster, just because I want to see what makes you tick, but you're not a monster, all right? This thing has consumed you. Look at you, right? You can barely eat or drink. You haven't touched your donut, right? Why is that? Because your guts are eating yourself up inside, okay? You can't sit and say that you're innocent and did all. What's the first thing you did when you got in here? You just laid down and curled up, right? It's all over. You know it's over, okay? You know it's done, okay? You don't have to be an expert in body language. All you've done is lay around in the fetal position since you've been here. That's not how innocent people act. That's not how people that are falsely accused of something act. It's the
Could be
last
that
thing
it
that
is
you
possibly that it's freezing. I haven't eaten since noon. It could be that this is all just a huge shock to me. No, it couldn't have been any of that at all.
It's probably all of that.
Μετά εγώ θα
But it's
έκανα
also the fact
φρούγκ,
that
δηλαδή θα έκανα
you're
με
involved
το
in it.
όλα
It's
αυτά.
probably all of that, Mike, okay? The fact that maybe you haven't eaten that much and maybe you are cold, there's no question. The first thing you said to me was you're cold and hungry. So that's why I grabbed you that stuff, okay? And I'm willing to accept that. Maybe that is part of the issue, okay? But there is a larger issue here, okay? And it's the issue of the evidence and the issue that you're involved in this, okay? And we can't change that. I have no ill will, anger towards you. I have none. You don't make me mad. You don't upset me, nothing like that, okay? The only issue I have is I don't fully understand. I volunteered here to come here and shoot the shit with you because I've talked to people in worse situations than you, okay? And like I say, you've been pretty respectful with me. You're not giving me a hard time. You're not being rude to me. So I'll sit with you because, but you know, the reality of it is I can walk away and you're going to sit and deal with this on your own for the rest of your life. You're a smart guy. You're nobody's fool. You know the situation. You know you're in a tough spot. And again, this is your opportunity to say your piece. But you got some pretty serious explaining to do here, okay? In the big picture. Now, without me, if I just leave you here, you got some stuff that you need to explain. I've acknowledged already what my thoughts are of you, okay? I've told you that from the beginning. that this is out of character for you, okay? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's why you don't want to talk. Because maybe you're thinking, you know what, Chris, you're wrong. You know, maybe I've done this before. Maybe I planned on doing it again, all right? I don't think that, but I mean, you could be sitting here playing me, right? How the hell would I know, okay? I can tell you that I don't think that's the case because I've sat across from a lot of people, again, that have been through stuff a lot worse than you. You made a mistake, man. Deal with it and we move on. I am concerned that you're just going to sit here and, oh, well, take a chance. Maybe I'll just leave it and it'll all work itself out. Well past that, Mike. This is not going to work itself out, okay? We're past that. You need to acknowledge what's caused you to do this. And I never said for a second that you went and took that kid from the school, because you didn't. But that kid was taken from that school, all right, by Terry and put in your car, okay? And you were there, and you were part of when the kid was driven to Guelph, okay, in the Home Depot. And then from there, the kid, into the demise of the kid. But this is the stuff we need to explain. Nobody can control your destiny now but you, okay? I can. I mean, I've already told you. I've already put my cards on the table. This is your chance, man. Do you not think you're going to feel better?
Pero έχει περάσει μία ώρα στο τέτοιο και αυτός ακόμα να πει ούτε λέξη. Και πιστεύει ότι ο τρόπος του δουλεύει, ας πούμε.
Getting some of this off your chest as opposed to keeping it there forever. You know what I mean? I'll sit with you and do this. There's no issues with it at all. Like I say, I have no problem sitting with you, man. Why don't we just find a starting point and we'll do it? Because you're going to sit and stew forever. Sitting, oh, I should have said this or shouldn't I have said that, right? It's up to you. I mean, I've got situations where I wish I'd have told somebody something that I didn't, and I regretted it my whole life, okay? And it's situations with family members where you should have said your piece or you should have kept your mouth shut. But we all have those experiences. But this is your chance to say your piece, all right? And I think you and I should take that chance. I think you and I should just sit and have that discussion. How is it going to get worse, right? It can't. And obviously, to an extent, someone's put you in this position, right? And we need to deal with that.
You want me to tell you things I didn't do so I can get locked up for the rest of my life for this?
No, that's not. I don't want you to tell me things you did not do. No, I'm going to ask you a question. What's your biggest fear or your biggest concern now that you've been charged with this? What's your biggest concern here?
Losing my life.
Okay. All right.
I want to know what this girl Terry said.
Okay. She acknowledges that she grabbed Tori and brought her to your car. That it was your wishes. That you sent her there with certain things that you were looking for in a victim. And she took her. And you guys drove on the highway and did the Home Depot thing, which I talked about. Left the Home Depot. Went to a secluded area. You had sexual relations with Tori. And Tori was killed.
Απλά το είπε.
This is your time, man. This is as good as it gets, unfortunately. All right? This is it. And, I mean, I can get into more detail if you want, but in a nutshell, that's a polite way of saying what the allegations are. But if there's stuff, if there's other people here,
Και απλά σηκώθηκε και έφυγε.
what's happening, man?
What's this process? What happens?
What happens next? After you and I are done talking, you go back to your cells. Tomorrow morning, you'll have what's called you'll be brought into court, and the charges will be read to you again, and there'll be a discussion if you get out of custody for bail, and then they may schedule a bail hearing to determine that.
Bail.
From there, it's a
Oh,
matter
hell
of,
no.
where it goes from the courts. The investigation will go on for a little while yet. There's a couple things that, as I told you earlier, need to be done. And then in the big picture, you're facing these charges. The reality of it is we can just sit and deal with the issue here, just as easy.
I'd rather deal with this issue in court.
The suspect remains unyielding after 95 minutes of psychological pressure, so the investigators commence the next stage of the interrogation. They initiate the Mutt and Jeff technique, most commonly known in pop culture as good cop, bad cop.
Hey, Seth, how are you? Mind for a sec? I understand Mike here wanted to see what Terry Lynn had to say. Mike, Terry Lynn's still speaking to my partner, okay? This is the girl you killed, all right? She's not missing anymore. She's dead. Terry Lynn was asked today if she wanted to call a lawyer 4 times. She said no, all 4 times. She went through 2 boxes of Kleenex. All right? She says on the 8th of April, Wednesday the 8th of April, 2009, at 3:30 in the afternoon, you drop her off at Pavey, south of Fife, south of the public school, where Tori walks out of. You tell her to get a girl, and you want her young. She walks up the street. You drive up to the old age home and you park your car. She walks up to Tori. Tori's nice to her. She trusts her. She holds her hand for a little bit. She walks up the street with her. Terry Lynn tells her about her little dog, gets her across the street to your car, opens the back door. Tori doesn't like it anymore. She pushes her in the car. You start driving. She says she's freaking out. She says she's worried about you. She's scared about what you're going to do. She says you guys hit the 401. You start driving to Guelph. You park outside a house. You go in for a little while. You come out with some drugs, she thinks. And you drive to the Home Depot. You park at the end of the parking lot. You tell her it's her turn to get out of the car. You tell her to go in there. You give her some cash because you don't want to use your debit card so you don't track it. She goes in there. She gets garbage bags like she's told to do, and she comes back out. Then you go driving. And you pull into a farmer's field, right across from a house, to the point where you're even asking her if anybody can see you. And what does she do? She says she goes for a walk, because she doesn't want to see what happens. And then she comes back, and you're not sitting in the front seat anymore, Mike, you're sitting in the back seat. And she's not liking what she sees, so she walks away again. Then she comes back, and you make her hold one of those garbage bags while you put some of your clothes and her jacket and a hammer in the garbage bag. Then you drive to a gas station. She never sees Tori again. You drive to that gas station, you get out, you wash up, you dump the bag. You drive back to Woodstock. That's Terry Lynn's story, Mike. That's Terry Lynn's story while she bawls her eyes out through 2 boxes of Kleenex. And I ask her 4 times, hey, you want to call a lawyer? She says, I don't need to call a lawyer. I feel so bad about what happened. I just want to tell you all about it. That's what you're up against.
Terry Lynn's a liar.
Well, you're the only person that can tell us that, bud.
I just did.
You gotta be careful though, Mike, because some of the shit she said is backed by not just video but other evidence, but also some of the explanations that she gave as well are verified. That's a little more graphic than I said it, but yeah, there is some stuff that she says that is true. There's no question. I'm not gonna sit and say it's not. But
How old are you, Mike? 28 years old? You want to tell us your side of the story? Get rid of your fucking security blanket and start being a man. Because it's not going to be her semen that we find on her body. When we look at the areas underneath the parts of the seat that you cut out, we're going to find her blood. Do you know how blood works? Do you know about red blood cells, white blood cells? White blood cells are thinner. They look like spit when they're separated from red blood cells. They're the ones that seep through into the foam. That's what we get the DNA from. Skin cells from her rubbing up and down against your seats in your car. Tori Stafford is all over your car. all over it. And Terry Lynn explains everything that she knows we're going to find. You're explaining nothing. So I don't give a fuck if you say one more word and tell you the truth.
All right, we're done then.
Well, I'm done with you anyway.
Okay.
This officer here is trying to understand what the hell you're going through. I don't care.
Who are you?
I'm the lead investigator here.
Okay.
Okay?
Terry Lynn's full of shit.
Well, that's going to be a funny thing for you to say in court, isn't it?
No.
Because how's the DNA going to be full of shit, Mike? Huh? How's the biologist from the Center for Forensic Sciences going to be full of shit? How's the pathologist that examines her body going to be full of shit?
Yeah, give him shit.
Explain that to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be careful, Mike, that's a dangerous road to go up. If there's something you and I can clarify with what she said, then let's clarify it, but we can't just sit here with a blanket statement that she's full of shit, because there is some things that's truthful. And then by you saying that takes away your credibility, so we gotta be very careful with that.
I'm done with him.
Yeah.
This officer's got his job to do, Mike. He's got a different job than I do. For my investigation, you keeping your mouth shut is the best thing can happen. So keep on keeping it shut.
Okay.
The theory behind good cop, bad cop is known as the fear, then relief response. It's believed that when the immediate shift from one emotion to the next is so extreme, a suspect can become disoriented, and their ability to think critically can be affected. This specific state of disorientation makes compliance more likely, as the rapid change of emotion can evoke the feeling of uncertainty, and a suspect's positive response to an oncoming request is a form of coping with this uncertainty. This is of course not a guaranteed system, and a suspect will not always respond in the desired manner.
Well, you know more than I told you anyway. It wasn't quite as eloquent as I would have put it, but anyways. At the same time, what he's saying is right. Like, I did watch what she was saying, and she was very emotional, there's no question. And she did go through Kleenex, there's no question of that. She was upset with it, and there's stuff that she said that, I mean, was clearly known ahead of time.
Τα
By the
subtitles
investigators.
είναι
There's
ότι
stuff that was
καλύτερο.
said that, by her saying it later, proved out to be confirmed other ways, so don't, no, you can't say don't, you can do whatever the hell you want, but just be careful going up that road. Anyways, but like I said, I have no issues on that. That doesn't change my opinion from our discussion, to be quite honest. I mean, they got their opinions, and obviously they're getting sick of listening to me, so they've come in and said their piece, but like I say, I've got no, I'm not pissed with you, so I'm not, but like I say, this is your chance. This is your chance to say your piece. And I'm sitting here willing to listen to it.
Well, he just told me not to say anything more, so.
Well, it's up to you. You don't say anything to him.
That's what
but
he said, though,
He
so.
doesn't want you to talk to him, but that's fine. I'm still interested in listening to you. You wanna talk about the part of the school where she's grabbed? We can discuss that and see what your thoughts are there.
I'm not saying anymore.
Why?
Because of the officer, because of what the lawyer said, now it's everything. I just don't.
What do you think is gonna happen next?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Someone runs in here and starts barking. You just want me to say whatever. You just want me to say things. So it's open and closed.
No.
So it's over and done with. That's it. This is how it is. Nothing more to talk about.
No, actually, because you know what, actually that's fair. That's a very fair statement, actually. But I gotta tell you, in this case, it doesn't matter. So yeah, I'm compelled and I'm interested to listen to what you have to say. But does it open and shut this case? No.
I'm done.
Why?
I'm not talking anymore.
How come?
I've already told you why.
Just because of all the different angles and all that?
I just don't feel comfortable talking about it.
So you're prepared then to just leave it like this and you're gonna ride it out from here, see where it goes?
Yep.
You think that's the best way to do it?
I don't know. I've never been in this chair before. I don't know.
Any questions of me?
No.
Need something to eat?
Yeah, but you don't care if I need something to eat.
Why would you say that?
Because you don't.
I wouldn't ask if I didn't care.
You're here for your job.
I could have walked out. I don't have to ask you because you got a phone right here, right? But the reality of it is, I know that you're gonna go back and sit and sleep or do whatever for a while, and you'd be better to do it on a full stomach. That's all it is to it, man. But I don't have to ask you if you want food, but I am prepared to get you food.
So
That's
I can
reality.
eat, and then you can say, "Oh, look, he had an appetite. This is how he must have been feeling. Oh, he drank his tea. This is how he must be feeling." Forget the fact he's just starving and.
You're reading too much into it, man. No, that's not what it is at all. I offered you something to eat because I thought if you're hungry, you can eat it. I don't care if you eat it or not, right? I mean, it's up to you. It doesn't matter to me if you eat or you don't eat.
And that doesn't go in anywhere in any of your reports.
Αυτό σύνορα.
That I ate or not ate.
No, because
Δεν τα καταφέρνω.
These are not enough to write any report. My report doesn't say if you ate or not. My report says what we talked about.
This is a very intriguing moment of the interrogation, as the suspect's state of mind seems to be in two places at once. He is undoubtedly clinging on to hope, made evident by his outright refusal to admit involvement, yet he still has situational awareness. He knows deep down that his act isn't being bought, giving reason for his guilt in requesting food. He would have been starving at this moment, yet his primary concern was how he would be perceived while eating. He is caught between wanting to satisfy his hunger and trying to appear so guilt-ridden by the circumstances that he doesn't even care about his hunger.
No, like I say, it's your appetite at this point doesn't matter, really. I come in here, I sat to explain to you what the evidence was, had a discussion. Actually, I don't think there's any animosity between us. So we had a discussion about what the case facts are, and that was it. So it doesn't matter to me if you eat or not, but it was a legitimate offer. If you want something, I'll arrange for you to get it. There's no issues that way. But you read too much into it, man. Do you want something to eat?
McDonald's.
I need something to eat, yes.
Alright. I'll get you something to eat. Look at me. Take it easy.
In reality, no food was coming. The suspect had it right when he stated that the investigator didn't care about his hunger, and he wasn't about to go out of his way to get a takeaway meal for a child killer. The Mutt and Jeff technique, although very well executed, was unsuccessful on this occasion.
Hey, Mike.
Oh.
I'm a pretty get down to the facts kind of guy. I'm sure you've realized that from our brief encounter earlier, right? This is not rocket science. I've got what Terry Lynn has told me this afternoon, and I've got you. This is your opportunity. Terry Lynn's sitting right here. Tell us she's a liar. You've had no problem in saying without her in the room.
Terry's a liar.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping.
I'm not even looking at her.
I don't need to look at her.
You haven't been looking at anyone.
I don't need to look at anyone.
See, Mike, I know I was right when I walked in here, okay? And I'm not gonna pull any punches here, okay? I'm not gonna try and kiss your ass, all right?
Detective Smith's behavior in the following moments is not associated with any techniques nor strategies. He knows the suspect's inclination is virtually set and unlikely to be influenced any further from this point onward. The following onslaught doesn't have any tactical purposes related to the investigation. The detective has understandably become emotionally invested in the case and proceeds to give the prime suspect the psychological grilling he deserves.
I mean, let's face it. I'm a cop, all right? And the last 5 weeks, I've been trying to find out who killed an 8-year-old girl. Okay? And I know the guys from behavioral sciences, they got their thing. They're trying to understand why that's what they do.
You guys all work together.
Yeah, we do. They're good people. They know their job very well. And sure as hell, I'd like to know why. All right? I'd like to think that we don't have people walking around our communities who just because they're bored on an afternoon say, hey, why don't we grab that girl and rape and murder her, okay? I'd like to think that we live in a community where people think a little bit more about what they're gonna do than that. Do you think you're coming off as an innocent guy? Do you think you're looking like somebody who's been wrongfully accused here?
You're gonna see it however you want to see it. My lawyer, or the lawyer, instructed me to just say,
Yeah.
Not
I
the
know,
lawyer,
I know what your
Simply-
lawyer
Lord.
should say. But that doesn't make you an innocent man. That makes you a man who's saying, holy fuck, what am I gonna do now?
nothing I do is going to change your opinion. So I might as well just follow the lawyer's advice.
Well, you're right there, Mike. Nothing you do is gonna get you walking out of this police station tonight without being charged with murdering Tori Stafford. You're right.
Bro, subtitles are wild.
You know how much media coverage this has. You know what the newspapers are going to do with this and to your family tomorrow, okay? You think the cops are gonna be talking to everybody you ever spoke to in your life? That's nothing compared to what the media is gonna be doing. This is a huge story for them. This is the next Paul Bernardo. Whether you like it or not,
Ποιος είναι αυτός
a
που
girl
μπορεί να
and a
το
guy
ξαναέχουν?
kidnapping an 8-year-old girl and murdering her.
Είχα ξεχάσει πόσο χρόνο ήτανε.
That's one of the most sensational things that have happened in this province since
8.
Bernardo and Carla. It's going to be a frenzy, and you and I both know that.
Death chair.
You know what a psychopath is, Mike?
I have never met one.
Well, I
You
just
know the
met one tonight.
psychopath is me.
I just find it funny how you can go full sure on something when you don't know.
Well, Mike, when somebody tells me that they were present when a man killed an 8-year-old girl,
Right. Somebody told you that.
she did.
Okay.
When that happens, okay, we don't say, oh well, maybe after we go golfing for the week, we'll go and see Mike and see what he has to say. That's not the way it works.
No, so let's just pick him up and then say, yep, you did it. Because that's obviously got to be the right way to go about things.
Yeah. So, the last thing I cover off with everybody I talk to in situations like this, Mike, is pretty straightforward, okay? Rodney Stafford and Tara McDonald have to be notified about this. Okay. First question out of their mouth is going to be, what? Did they say why they did it?
Bro, this actually tearing up. Γιατί με κάνει τόσο mad. Δηλαδή, δεν μπορώ να καταλάβω τι ακριβώς υπάρχει στο κεφάλι αυτών των child abusers. Δηλαδή, πώς μπορεί να σε κάνει aroused αρχικά ένα 8χρονο κορίτσι. Δηλαδή, πόσο άρρωστος πρέπει να είσαι. Με κάνει full upset, δηλαδή όλο αυτό. No.
I'm sure one of those two will have the answer for you. Why
No.
somebody would do it.
What are you getting at, Mike? What are you throwing out there for me, buddy?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're gonna talk to them anyways.
You know what, Mike? If you're gonna claim you have no involvement whatsoever, don't play games with me and throw out little hints and see what comes of it.
There's no game. There's no little hints.
There's nobody involved in this except for you and Terry Lynn.
We're done.
Is that what you said to Tori before you killed her? We're done?
Funny man.
Funny man.
It was fun.
That's what you think this is funny
I
man?
think you're a funny man.
I think you're a cold-blooded killer. Because you and I haven't spent too much more time now
Και ένας
than
άρρωστος.
you forced Tori
Pathetic.
Stafford to spend in your car.
Little shit!
You could have let her out anywhere along that route. You could have killed her without sexually assaulting her. And that's what I wanted to sit across from tonight. See what it's like to sit across from a guy who, when he abducts an 8-year-old girl, is so turned on by it that before he kills her, he has to have sex with her.
Bro, θα ξεράσω.
So if you ask me why I'm sitting in this room, I'm sitting in this room for Tori. Making you squirm, putting you through some of the grief that you put her through. That's why I'm in here, Mike. And I'm having a good time.
Bro, θα ξεράσω με τις...
You are a sick puppy, Michael. Eight years old, Mike. 8 years old, buddy. All she wanted to do was go home and have a little party for her friends because her mom just redecorated her room for her. That's pure evil, bud. And that's exactly what the judge is going to see. That's what you are. No remorse, no empathy, no nothing. You're just hollow.
Αυτό μόνο που δεν έχω καταλάβει τώρα, οι άλλοι που ήταν μαζί του, αυτή η Τέρι, αυτή, θα μπήκε αυτή μέσα για βοηθός φάση. Γιατί εντάξει, ναι μεν, ενώ μίλησε και τα είπε όλα, ό,τι έγινε, αλλά την άλλη κιόλας βοήθησε για να μπει η μικρή μέσα στο αμάξι και για να ακολουθήσει ό,τι έχει ακολουθήσει. Οπότε, δεν ξέρω. Κανονικά δεν θα έπρεπε να μπει και αυτή σαν συνεργός, όχι για τόσο καιρό μέσα, αλλά και πάλι. Ναι. Ή τουλάχιστον για να πάρει bail, ξέρω εγώ.
Nice thing about
Αυτός πρέπει
place you're
να
going to be spending
δεν ξέρω.
a good chunk of your life is they
That's
actually have
it.
glass cells. So you and Bernardo can make googly eyes at each other all day, whatever you guys do in there. So it's nice meeting you, Mikey. Enjoy the rest of your life. This is the kind of room you're going to be spending it in.
And it was all for this little girl right here. Not just Tori, but for every little child in Canada that doesn't deserve what happened to her.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. 31-year-old Michael Rafferty has been found guilty of murdering, kidnapping, and sexually assaulting 8-year-old Tori Stafford. It's been nearly 10 very long weeks of trial in London, which is where Laura Zilke has been covering this story since the very beginning.
In the courtroom, when the verdict was read out, there was a collective sigh of yes for each time one of those guilty verdicts was read out through friends and family. That came with the reading of each verdict. Guilty of first degree, guilty of abduction, and guilty of sexual assault. Lawyers from both sides of the story came out to speak with us as well. Their reaction, everyone appreciating that justice was done here, and every one of them also thanking the work that the jury had to do for having to sit through this case for, as you mentioned, Carolyn, almost 10 weeks.
It's been a long and difficult trial for everybody. The trial is finally over, so that's a good thing. but the verdict means that the jury has found that Michael Rafferty did kidnap, sexually assault, and murder Victoria Stafford, and our thoughts are with Victoria's family.
Is it a hard decision for you to take cases like this?
It's never easy, but honestly, I mean, somebody has to take them. It's I get asked that question more often than almost anything else. How can you do a case like this? How can you defend such a person? The reality of it is that everybody in our system deserves a strong, proper and effective defense.
Even before going into the courtroom, there was really a sense of excitement. I think a lot of the family thought that because the verdict did come so quickly, just over a day of deliberations, they truly believed that this was going to be a guilty verdict. Then going into the courtroom, that simply continued. The relief that went over this, it was really almost unbelievable to hear the sighs that went through everyone in that courtroom. Carolyn.
Both Michael Rafferty and Terry Lynn McClintock were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 25 years.
Okay. Good. Good. Άκου εκεί. Οπα. Τι κάνω. Okay. Είναι out of focus το σύνορο. Low. Για να δούμε τι κάνουνε. Nickelodeon. Μόνη μου.
Έπρεπε να είχα ανοίξει το draft.
Λέει.
Το draft, ναι. Καλώ Μάρινα.
Τι κάνετε, παίζετε ακόμα.
Σουρτήρια γίνεται το παιδάκι.
Για να κάνουμε spy στον Σταύρο.
Πού είσαι? Έκανα νιου τη Μαρίνα.
Ναι,
Ωραία.
ώρα.
Hello.
Λέει. Σε κάνουμε
Τι
spy.
έγινε?
Σε κάνουμε, λέω, spy.
Σλέν. Γεια σου Μαρή. Πώς είναι?
Μαρή. Κάτσε. OMG.
Bro, can you wall properly?
Watch party. Πού να βάλω το κεφάλι μου, το βάλω εδώ.
Ναι. Εφόσον χάσαμε αυτό το round είναι απλά loser.
Δεν πειράζει.
Οκ, μέσα από το smoke. Αχα.
Κάτσε να κάνω τι κάνει ο Σταύρος.
Παίξε με το μαλλί σου, Μαρίνα.
Έτσι, παίζει. Κάτσε να χαζέψουμε και τη Χριστίνα. Α, περίμενα να σε πατάτα, Χριστίνα.
Λόλ, ούτε καν.
Α, δεν θα κάνεις τέτοιο stream πατάτα.
Nice.
Θα κάνω, αλλά όχι τώρα.
Τώρα. Έτσι κι αλλιώς το game χαμένο είναι.
Τώρα.
Μαρίνα, κοίτα αυτό το emote, είναι τέλειο.
Ποιο? Αχ, εγώ. Άξα λίγο. Εντάξει, βλέπω τον Καύλο το ζώρο που...
Έλα ρε μαλακά!
Περνάει, πάει πάνω κάτω με το όνομά μου. Και θυμήθηκα ότι μαλάκα στο το for you μου έχει γεμίσει με One Piece live action.
35 on a fade.
Κακό. δεν είχε όπλο.
Spike σαν attack.
Oh! Slay! Oh! No.
Wow.
Ariana, what are you doing here?
Ariana, what are you doing here?
Hello.
Ποιος σχέστηκε μωρέ για τον Doll? Για τον Doja Cat ναι, αλλά ποιος σχέστηκε για τον Doll?
Μαλάκα, έχω τον Dolly τόσο χαμηλά που ακούγα ένα ψήθρο και λέω τι γίνεται.
Να σε καλά, Μαρίνα, να σε καλά.
Έτσι πρέπει, Μαρίνα.
Χριστίνα.
Τι θέλω να κάνω?
Όχι.
Τους μαλώσω.
Όχι. Κατάλαβες όμως γιατί ήρθαμε εγώ και ο Ηρακλής.
Θα πούμε
flex.
Όχι.
Όχι.
Εν τω μεταξύ από αυτό που έβαλε η Μαρίνα είναι μια λεσβία αυτή.
Bridge pushing A.
Τι?
Fade as well.
Τι έχει βάλει? Στριμάρουμε το λίγο και ο Σταύρος, δεν ξέρω άμα το ξέρεις.
Δεν είναι κακό.
Και Μαρίνα.
Δεν το έχεις στο Be Right Back.
Όχι καλέ.
Ναι, όχι, πού να το ξέρω. Be Right Back εγώ ξέρω.
Be Right Back ήμουν για ούτε 2 λεπτά.
Κύριε, θες να παίξουμε μήπως TFT?
Ώρα πριν.
Βαριέμαι.
Είδα ένα ολόκληρο
Πάμε σε ολοντουό.
JCS βίντεο, μία ώρα.
Τι να σου πω.
Κάτσε για να κορυδέψουμε. Χριστίνα, δεν είστε μόνο εσείς.
Έλα, 81 on fade.
100 on omen. Γάμο, τι το όλοι.
Εγώ ήρθα να μάθω να πάρω συνέντευξη.
Η άλλη βαράει το πτώμα.
Καλά.
Αλλά η Χριστίνα είναι πολύ χαζή τελικά.
Το είδα και εγώ αυτό τη φάση.
Δεν ακούω ρε τι λες.
Τίποτα Χριστίνα, είσαι όμορφη. Από ποιο account πήκες?
Από το Καλία.
Τόλι, μπες κάνε μου τέτοιο follow. Τώρα.
Ντροπή σου και που δεν έχεις κάνει.
Και που δεν έχεις κάνει να σου πω. Δώσε και γκίψα.
Εγώ σου έχω κάνει Μαρίνα από το 5 Μαρτίου.
Κάτσε, σου στάθηκε η Χριστίνα.
Αχα.
Το Μαρτίου.
Έτσι πρέπει.
Τόλι, είμαι από του Χρήστου, παίζω Valorant από εκεί αυτή τη στιγμή, άμα αυτή είναι η ερώτηση.
Είσαι mod, σε έχω κάνει...
Ναι καλέ, σου στείλα στο chat.
Σου δίνω το ελεύθερο να μπανάρεις όποιον
Valorant.
θέλεις.
Τέλεια.
Καλά ρε,
τι κάνουμε φίλοι?
Τόλι, στριμάρω για 100η φορά, στριμάρω. Φαίνεται τι βλέπω εγώ στο stream.
Τι βλέπεις?
Δεν το έχεις με game.
Το έχω, εκεί μου στέλνει. That's the thing, στο Valorant μου γράφει.
Τι του έγραψε, τι της έγραψες?
Αγαπώ.
Κλιπ.
Μου είπε πριν λίγο. Η Κριστίνα είναι τόσο ηλίθια εδώ μεταξύ. Πάρω για 100η φορά.
Μωρή, πείτε το κάνα. Ωραία, πάμε Ηρακλή κάτω.
Και Τόλι. Έφυγε. Πες του όχι. Να μην ασχοληθείς.
Όχι, Τόλι, μην ασχοληθείς.
Τι να κάνω?
Να μην ασχοληθείς.
Καλά, εγώ βγήκα, δεν άκουσα πριν τι λέγατε.
Όχι, λέει να μην ασχοληθείς.
Για να σας πω. Εγώ δεσμευμένος άνθρωπος είμαι, μια πλάκα έκανα απλά.
Τι
είσαι, πότε?
Μια χαρά ξέρει η Χριστίνα και ο Ηρακλής.
Μια κάτι έμαθα.
Δεσμευμένος άνθρωπος είμαι. Δεν κάνω τέτοια για τα memes το έκανα.
Κανείς.
Τι?
Το χέρι του.
Καλά. Αν χρειαστείτε οδοντίατρο, εγώ κατευθείαν. Δεν ξέρετε.
Λοιπόν, εγώ βασικά λέω να κλείσω το stream. Γιατί είμαι ήδη 3 ώρες live. Και αύριο γράφω 9 ώρα πρωί και δεν έχω διαβάσει τίποτα. Ευχαριστώ.
Εγώ έτσι νιώθω. Έτσι νιώθω.
Clown.
Κολλητή, πάμε κάτω. Bye, Marina.
Bye.
Μαρίνα μόνο.
Τι.
Ναι, μαζί μας συμπαθεί.
Ariana, what are you doing here? Okay. Έφυγε. Δεν τον πήρα χαμπάρι.
Σταύρο.
Ο Σταύρος δεν είναι εδώ. Βλέπω το stream του. Ποια είναι τα νέα σου, Χριστίνα, που μπορείς, ξέρω εγώ, να μοιράσεις με το stream?
Τίποτα.
Αυτά.
Δίνω μάθημα τη Τρίτη.
Ναι.
Έχω διαβάσει.
Πώς είναι αυτό? Γιατί εγώ όχι.
Εντάξει, δεν σου λέω ότι πορώθηκα και το ένα και το άλλο, αλλά έχω διαβάσει, ναι. Αυτό. Αύριο θα φύγω σε Έρες, θα κοιμηθώ στο σπίτι ενός φίλου μου, γιατί δίνω Τρίτη πρωί. Οπότε να μην τρέχω με τα κτέλ και τα λοιπά. Έγραψα μαλλί, άμα δεν το είδες στο B-Reel.
Δεν έχω ανεβάσει.
Too late. Τι είναι αυτό. Άρα φεύγω, γυρνάω Τρίτη. Την επόμενη εβδομάδα θα είμαι όλη τη βδομάδα στις Σέρες, θα κοιμηθώ πάλι σε αυτό το παιδί.
Γεια.
Και γενικά θα ξεκινήσω πολύ πιο stream, ειδικά μετά τις 20 του μήνα. Το έχω πει πολλές φορές, αλλά αυτή τη φορά θα το κάνω.
Αμήν.
Θα κάνω ολόκληρο thing, να προσπαθώ να
Ταμπαθόν.
γίνω... Όχι ρε. Θα προσπαθώ να γίνω καλή στο LOL. Πάνω αυτό.
LOL.
Και όταν παίζω Valorant θα το streamάρω και αυτό όσο πιο μπορώ. Άσε που τέλη αυτού του μήνα, αρχές του επόμενου, παραγγέλνω τα πράγματα για το PC. Όταν θα είμαι μπόμπα.
Slay. Τι πρέπει να κάνεις δηλαδή για να γίνεις? Δηλαδή Σταύρο, εσύ που έγινες για να γίνεις affiliated, ήταν αυτό που έκανες με τις 40 μέρες?
Όχι. Είχα γίνει από πολύ πιο πριν.
Και τι έχεις...
Είχα γίνει από πέρσι πριν καν πιάσω δουλειά στο Battle.net.
Ναι. Απλά ξέρω εγώ streamers και τα λοιπά και κάποια στιγμή απλά έκανες reach κάποια goals, ξέρω εγώ.
Στην ουσία, άμα πας στα achievements σου,
Ναι.
σου λέει path to affiliate, θέλει 50 followers, average 3 viewers νομίζω και να έχει στριμάρει 25 ώρες μέσα σε ένα μήνα. Άμα τα κάνεις αυτά μέσα σε χρονικό... Τι?
Σε ένα μήνα πρέπει να πάρεις 50 followers.
Οι followers μπορούν να έρθουν και 3 μήνες μετά, ξέρω.
Οκ.
Απλά στην ουσία σε διάστημα ενός μήνα θέλει να έχεις average 3 viewers και 25 ώρες stream.
Okay.
Στην ουσία μία μέρα από όλο το μήνα να έχεις streamάρει και καλά. Όχι συνεχόμενα.
Καλά, ναι. Κατάλαβα τι εννοείς. Οκ.
Τι κάνουμε, του δίνω.
Εγώ θα σας χαιρετήσω.
Πόσο να εξαρτάται.
Εντάξει, λοιπόν.
Αυτά.
Τι θα κάνεις, Μάρ?
Να, αλλά. Έλα.
Ξέρω.
Φύγε. Άντε.
Θα κλείσω το stream. Είπα και πριν, είμαι ήδη 3 ώρες live, οπότε ναι.
Εντάξει, λοιπόν.
Ναι, θα δω μήπως ξεφυλίσω καμία διαφάνεια για αύριο.
Να διαβάσω το εξώφυλλο και να πάω για ύπνο.
Αυτό, ακριβώς αυτό.
Λοιπόν. Άντε ρε Μαρίνα, φιλάκια.
Καλό βράδυ.
Επίσης.
Bye. Λοιπόν, αυτά για σήμερα. Ήτανε φαν. Θα συνεχίσουμε οπωσδήποτε το Storyteller. OMG, περίμενε. Hello. Γιατί νιώθω ότι όταν έχω το τηλέφωνό μου έχει καλύτερη... Anyway. Αυτά. Θα συνεχίσουμε σίγουρα το Storyteller. Απλά το πότε δεν ξέρω. Και σίγουρα θέλω να κάνω τα steps αυτό για να γίνω affiliated, οπότε θα γίνει. Δεν ξέρω ακόμα άμα πώς, αλλά ναι, θα βρεθούμε σε καλό δρόμο, πιστεύω. Αυτά. Καλό βράδυ, καλή συνέχεια. Bye.